Good afternoon. Today I'm very happy to welcome a great artist talking to us from the United States, a great friend of mine on LinkedIn and all the social media, Mrs. Samantha Goldberg. Of course, she's a great television personality. She's a
Yes,
fashion advisor. I can say a wedding planner as well.
yes, I'm a celebrity wedding planner. I've
That's
been doing
great.
this over 3 decades. Oh, she just hit me.
Oh,
You might see that during the interview.
A-
She likes to
and
me.
attending the interview, what's her name? The little dog.
This is the official Sassy. Um,
This is Sassy.
this is Sassy, but people call me Sassy Sammy. So this is Sassy, I suppose. But she's
Yes,
great. She's my sidekick.
great, great.
Yeah,
And also, yes, she must attend the interview. She's
I
like
think that
Robin
yeah.
to Batman.
She's trying to take the screen time away from me.
uh, Tell me, before we start, why did you acquire this nickname, Sassy Sammy? Because it's on your biography and your official
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
it's everywhere.
Tell me
It's
the story.
everywhere. Okay, so I'm one of the pioneers in reality television. So I started in the early 2000s,
Yes,
um, and my behavior on it was started off with the hit series "Whose Wedding Is It Anyway" on E Style, the network, and
yes,
I was one of those, people who just kind of told it like it is, pretty much for the most part. And
yes.
I think that my clients that were on the show that's what they liked most about me was that I didn't lie. I didn't, kind of cherry pick how I was going to tell them that they couldn't have something or if they were being irresponsible or, just those types of things. But while sometimes they didn't like it, they respected it in the end because they got exactly what they wanted. So I started getting called sassy based on my sassy behavior. I would call it more straightforward, but they felt sassy was more applicable, and my audience actually chose that for me. That wasn't so. At first, I thought it was maybe they're saying sassy and my dog, meaning sidekick. No, it's just me, sassy. I'm
Yeah.
sassy. So
Great. You mentioning e-network, I used to receive it when I was in Egypt,
yes,
part of the showtime, and really, I liked very much the content, the quality of the reality show, including
yes,
yours, before the reality show becomes a trend, on national television.
yes.
And
It's
I remember they used to produce, powerful biographies about stars, tracing
mhm,
their trajectory into arts,
right.
and it was very knowledgeable. I mean, if I watch it as a film critic or a film festival curator, my main work, it gives me a lot of very good information. It was not this kind of only paparazzi information and stuff like that, if I
Right.
may say. So mentioning that, but tell me, Sam, right now, how did you got introduced to the wedding planning business? Because I'm familiar only with wedding planning. I think we do have it in the Middle East for royalties, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
And I've seen the wedding planner film with Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey a few years ago. But tell
Yeah.
me about this business. How can someone, a woman, or maybe I don't know, maybe are men working as well, got introduced to this kind of business and make it to as your own profession?
Okay. So I actually started my career in the beauty and fashion industry. And
Uh-huh.
so things kind of started at that time. I started putting on events all over the world, actually. It
Great,
started just, in the Midwest, and then it kind of grew to the United States. And then it became outside the United States. So while I was doing these events, we would have, I had sometimes 30 to 50 salespeople to look out for, sometimes more. Sometimes it was like 3,000 salespeople, depends on where I was working with. But we would have 30, 40 events going on a weekend. And that could be anything from new product launches to a new opening to celebratory of someone's anniversary.
Excellent.
Then it broke down to trade shows of like 10,000 vendors. And uh, from there, my salespeople, my managers, my educators wanted me to plan their weddings. So I started planning their weddings. On top of it, they liked the events that I threw. And so it kind of started from there.
Yes.
And so when I got married, and that was early on in my 30s, my
Mhm.
husband at the time was from the East Coast, and I was
Yes.
from Chicago. And so while I'm
Yes.
doing all these events in Chicago and everywhere else, I find out one day he's offered a great position kind of back towards where he grew up as a kid. And that was in New Jersey. So from that point on, I got pregnant, I had my daughter, and about a year later, I didn't know anybody out here on the East Coast. I didn't know anything about this business. I was doing consulting for the beauty business again, and my it was my husband at the time's idea to maybe start up a small business on the side so I can have some brain activity.
Great.
And work with the events in the beauty industry or just personally. And so I had some cards made up and learned very quickly that the East Coast, not very big fans of wedding planners at all. And
Yes.
so I said to myself, I got to take a different approach. I really do. This industry is going to be tough out here. It's very competitive. There's other celebrity wedding planners that are out there, and they have a lot more experience than I do.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to speak to a venue, a place where people have their receptions and their weddings. And, I've done a lot of Indian weddings where it's like it'll be all day and it'll be an entire weekend full of festivities at one location or two locations. And so, you're there for a long time. Anyway, I had a conversation with a venue, and at first they were very uptight about discussing why they don't like wedding planners, but I got them to divulge that it was more of a control issue and that they have their system, and a lot of planners are not set on their system yet. So it caused a lot of problems with both parties. And after our conversation, they said, I think you might have just changed our mind on wedding planners. And I said, how so? They said, you listen. And I knew right there, I'm like, okay, so that's the problem. It's planners come in, they're really excited to make, their clients happy with a venue, and they go on taking their role, but sometimes their personalities are too alpha female and need to kind of take a back seat. They sent me 10 clients. It was maybe less than 2 weeks. I had 10 clients and I had no other vendors. I just had clients that needed their weddings planned. And I'm like, what am I going to do here? Like, So I put my work hat on. And from there, I decided I'm going to build my own empire in this business. And so I started looking on websites like a Craigslist or Angie's List, or people that just advertise, on their own. They're raw talent, or maybe they used to do it for a corporate company, but they're still really good at personal events. And I found lighting people on these sites. I found photographers. I found DJs. I found everybody, even rental companies. And I kind of let them know I want to hit a market, a niche for a bride who has no clue how to work with their budget, or maybe they don't have the largest of budgets, but they really need vendors that are going to work with them and grow their companies with all these people. And so that's essentially what I did. 6 months after I had established myself, my business, my name, my clients started. I had a couple brides that got married a little bit early within that 6 month time frame, and they shared their photos with some of the well-known websites and newspapers, and they got published. The next thing you
Yes.
know, I get a call from, one was the New York Daily News, and that's a huge paper because it's sold everywhere in the world. Um, and then the Ledger, who reached out to me to want to know, exactly how long I've been in this business, blah blah blah, and they interviewed me. And it probably was maybe a month after those 2 interviews because I was in everybody's home. I remember they listed my home address in this interview, so of course I ran to the stores and was grabbing all these newspapers because I'm like, these people are like, "You can't do that." I said, "Oh, yes, I can. My address is listed on the front page of the newspaper." So they looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, "You gotta get these out of here. People are gonna come to my house. I just have a newborn. It's really not good." Uh, from that point on, I got a call from the production company, True Entertainment, who asked
Yes,
me if I wanted to be a part of a show.
yes,
And I was like, a show. I thought, one show. Now, granted, I've been doing stuff since I was little. I did modeling, I did commercials, I did hair modeling, I did makeup modeling, I did clothes modeling. I mean, there was a lot of things that I did before I even hit the celebrity world as a celebrity on the red carpet, but also a host or even a celebrity wedding planner. So this is all prior to that. It runs in
yes,
our family. We have people that have done all kinds of things with show business. And so it's between my mother's mother, my mother, and myself. Anyway, I thought to myself, I'll do this one show. One show. You just think one show, one episode. That's what I thought. And so I did it. And from there, it just they kept loading up my schedule with, more weddings and more weddings. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up to be with this show. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Uh,
yes,
and it became a hit series for over 11 seasons. Then during that time, I was tapped to do another show, but about destination weddings. And so there was someone else that was actually built for that part. It was a pilot to see if that was going to, work or not.
yes.
And next thing you know, that was 5 seasons. And then I got asked to do other shows on other networks. And then I got asked to be in movies. And it was just like one thing after another after another. And so in the wedding industry, I grew my name so fast. It was very, very, very fast. I did my first celebrity wedding about a year and a half into living on the East Coast.
Mhm.
And from there, my name just got pushed around, and I started doing all kinds of, anything from people in politics to sports icons, celebrities on the red carpet, people that have their own radio shows, or just people of interest or things that are going on, lifestyle, beauty, all those other subjects. Um, and from there, I've been on multiple television shows, reality shows. I've been on television series. I used to be on a show called Early Edition. I worked in the office there. If you remember that show. Um, I did a movie with Mel Gibson. That was back in 1995, and I've done some other parts since then. And I've had my own talk show. That happened for 2 years. That did really well. And so yeah, I've been brand ambassador for some of the biggest companies in the world. Hilton Hotel brand being one of them. I was their celebrity spokesperson for, registering events, groups, weddings. How do you plan? There was an online tool, Guest Ticket, that I assisted in putting that thing together for them. I then got offered a job by Party City, which is the largest party supplier in the country, and they're also outside the world. Um, I was their celebrity spokesperson and celebrity design expert. I then worked with Bloomingdale's as their registry expert in bridals throughout the United States. I worked with Mercedes on projects, Jeep on projects, Invisalign, excuse me, and multiple other brands, Hanes, Oral-B, Western Union, Wilton. So I become a brand expert in that time frame as well.
Great.
So yeah,
Yes, but
it's a long
Samantha,
resume.
tell me, during that time as well, did you think of, writing your story, publishing your biography, writing in articles for people who want to venture into fashion or wedding planning as well? I mean, your trajectory is very inspirational, I think, especially for the new generation.
Mhm. Um,
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting because I've been published over 5,000 times.
yes,
I write about the wedding industry more so than I write about anything else. I'll talk about celebrities, I'll talk about their weddings, I'll talk about their decor, I'll talk about things that are in, I'll talk about lifestyle, but the wedding industry is the one where I kind of lead the pack with my other peers that are celebrity planners. There's people that do more celebrity weddings than I do. It's just because I
Uh-huh.
venture into different areas. But I think it would be inspirational for people that want to get into the industry because it's not just about the wedding planning portion of what I do, it's the other areas that you can get expertise in just by being affiliated in that industry. It's funny how one area overlaps into another.
Correct.
And that it can be very, very not only exciting and eye opening, but something that can resonate with you no matter what age you are. And
Yes.
so I think that people find that very interesting and very hopeful. It's a very competitive market. And I think if people stopped paying attention to it being very competitive, they would probably do a lot better. And that's
Yes.
when I train people and I do certified planners. I have stopped because of COVID, but would certify, they would take a class and I would have them intern with my office, with my team. I would, cherry pick the ones that understood my concept and my way of doing business. And, you know, um, these people then realized they didn't want to work for themselves. They wanted to work for an established company. So it was very easy for me to kind of make that work. And I think if other people were to kind of set their own blueprint, if you will, of how they're
Yes.
going to make it work, you have to kind of individualize it to what can you bring to the table so that they can have their own form of expertise and success, not necessarily watching me and saying I want to do everything that she does, because that's what I've heard when I speak. And they want
Uh-huh.
to do what all of my peers do. They want to be in the newspapers, they want to be in print, they want to. And I think we all know that the ways of getting into that are really being an expert at your art and being good at
Of course.
something that maybe other people can learn from you. And that also means people of my caliber or people below it, doesn't matter. We're all, in this industry together. Just some of us have a lot more experience and some of us are a little more creative when it comes to the business side. Not everybody is good at business. They might be really good at their craft and the business side might be meant for someone else.
Of course. But tell me, can you mention few of the weddings you did with celebrities we know, especially in cinema or television? Some or something you preferably like. You think this is was your best work as well.
Yeah, I did. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of some ones before COVID. Melinda Williams' wedding, if you know who that is. She was on Soul Food. She's done a bunch of
Soul food.
movies.
Yeah, yeah, with
Yeah,
soul food. Yes, I remember with
she
Vanessa
was very.
Williams.
Yeah,
Vanessa, of course, she's a great singer. I love her
Vanessa
voice.
Williams. Yeah, all that. So I did her wedding. I've done. Let's see. I'll name some NFL players. So Eric Foster, who was the Colts. He was the DT for the Colts. I also did Sean O'Brien from the Giants. His. I did. Let's see, Michael Bradley.
Yeah,
He won gold for us for soccer.
yes.
Let's see, Conan O'Brien. I've worked with him. That's
Hmm.
just to name
Very
some.
funny.
Yeah, yeah. I've worked with a lot of different people, and it's sometimes hard to remember. I worked with John Stamos.
Of
Um,
course, of
yeah,
course. Yes,
he's
he
such
was
a
a teenage favorite star, in the 80s.
he
I
was a
remember.
hottie. He was a hot looking guy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he
I
still
remember
is.
his
And
early work on the television and sitcoms as well. He is
yes,
very
he did
handsome guy.
very good.
But tell me, Vanessa, sorry, tell me, Sam, right now, I mean, when celebrities would like to have a wedding planner like you,
Mhm.
are they located all the time on the New York, Las Vegas, I don't know, Los Angeles, or sometimes you got calls from other mid state of the United States?
Yes, um, I would say that, you mean as far as people looking for wedding planners like me, it doesn't necessarily mean where they live.
Yeah.
Uh, some people want their wedding's destination, so at that point, it doesn't really matter. And with COVID and everything, a lot of celebrities have done the destination weddings, so Um,
Yes.
for them, they want someone who's good at destination weddings. So I've gotten a lot of
Yeah.
phone calls for that.
Hmm.
Um, I can't name who I might be working with, but somebody in Dubai who's been living out there for a while,
Of course.
used to live here in the United States, used to have a big name here, and then moved out of the country, just didn't want the pressure and started doing stuff there and other countries outside of, Dubai, obviously.
Yeah. But
So,
you did some weddings outside of the United States as well?
oh gosh, I've done over 50 events in the Bahamas. I've
Wow.
done, yeah, I've done over 50 in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Usually like the Cancun market, Playa del Carmen,
Of
Tulum,
course.
Acapulco. Let's see where else. And then in Costa Rica, I've done weddings there.
Great, great. And
I've
let
done weddings in France without even being in France. So,
yes, remotely.
so
In Egypt, when some of the elite people organize weddings,
mhm,
they sometimes import accessories and food as well from Europe for the wedding. Imagine
yes,
it, and it's quite maybe more expensive than in Emirates or Dubai or maybe in the United States. We've been hearing about that, seeing photos, because in Egypt as well, there are a lot of more celebrities magazine and newspaper exactly that covering this kind of stuff. But here in the Internet Movie Database, I see you have upcoming appearances,
mhm,
as an actresses. This is
yes,
right. This is some stuff
yes,
in post
yes.
production. What can you tell us about next? Where we can see you next?
Okay, so there's a couple projects that I started working on before COVID, that just we kept getting setbacks on our tape dates. I'm used to interviewing like at the Emmys or the Oscars, the Grammys. The Grammys were indefinite,
Of course.
and they stopped us on the red carpet or any of the after hour parties. I'm excited because this year I actually get to do some after hours for the Oscars, which happen. It'll be a post Oscar, which happens in March.
Yeah.
So getting back to that business makes me very happy because I love just
Great.
hearing what everybody's up to, and I love the fashion portion of it. And I started loving it, believe it or not, because of Joan Rivers. I'd met her on several occasions, and she just had a love for that industry. Being on the carpet, she was more critical, but it's somebody I can relate to because I used to be one of those critical people in OK Magazine. I used to criticize what the celebrities wore to these events. So you know, you
Yeah.
know, they didn't like that very much, but it's all part of the job. I wasn't as cruel as some of the others. I'll say that. So
Of
I was
course.
pretty good. Yeah, I wouldn't want to put myself. But the shows that I'm working on, there's a show called The Main Event, which is about only celebrity parties.
Uh
And
huh.
we shot our sizzle reel for that, with
Yes.
the team. And so yeah, I'm waiting to get involved with that. There's another project called um, Fade Out, which is it's a reality series with celebrity judges. I'm the host.
Great.
It is a game show, kind of like American Idol, where
Uh huh.
people. It's about scripts. It's about script writing,
Uh
and I
huh.
can't really give too much about it because then someone else will take the idea and run with it. But
No,
it's
no, no. But this is great. This is
yeah, it's
this
a
is
great
new. I
concept.
mean, a new take on celebrity and reality shows. This is what I like. It's a new take,
Yes,
new ideas.
it's
Uh-huh.
it's there's a few movies. One is called Catch a Case, and can't really get into too much specifics about that, but and then I'm working on some other projects about the trafficking of young children, um, and
Uh-huh.
what's happening in the in the dirty world of that. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah, there's some other stuff that I'm not allowed to really, I'm not at liberty to talk about. There's a partnership for me with wedding gowns. It was something that I attempted to do again right before COVID, and the shipping, all the things with not being able to present it right, it just wasn't the right timing. So we're
Yeah.
actually in the middle of a contract right now, which I'm so excited.
Great.
I've had I've been a part of so many companies, and I really think it's time for me to kind of branch out and to um, see what other things I can help companies promote. If I could use my platform to help others, but also open up a new genre of business for myself, I'm 100% open to it.
Great. This is great. Sam, I want to thank you very much for this great interview.
Thank
I
you.
am
It was
sure
so nice. I'm glad we got it together.
it will be very inspirational for other artists, other people venturing into a lot of practices like yourself.
Mhm.
And I want to thank you again for appearing live with us. And
Thank you so
I want
much.
to send my regards to you, to your family, to your daughter. I hope she gets very well soon and go back to school. I know she had some COVID challenges, but I think we all in the same, situation regarding that. And I'm sure she is very,
Well,
very proud of
nursing was
her mother.
nursing was negative. Her tests were negative. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's like, when you have those tests and they come back and they tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this really happening? But she's
yeah.
she's good. She's good to go. She's back and she's fine. So
Yes, I'm sure she will be fine. I'm sure we'll be in touch. I look forward to see the first episodes and
yes,
your
you and I both. It's coming up soon.
don't,
So we're gonna
don't
I'm
forget
gonna
to
be
send me the links.
yes. I
And I
will
look
I
forward to
will
we
announce
can talk about it again in
yes,
another interview when
yes, and
when
I'll be able
when
to
you
show you
see the first
footage.
was great. Thanks, Sam. I wish
Thanks
you
so
a very
much.
lovely afternoon and
Yes.
keep up the good work and creativity.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Have a good
Take
day.
care. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.